Welcome to The Writer's Dream. This is a show where authors are able to talk about how they write their books, how they publish their books, and how they market their books. You can visit us on Facebook. We have a page called The Writer's Dream, and if you have any questions, please post them there and we'll try to answer them. My name is Linda Maria Frank, and I'm the author of Annie Tillery Mysteries. You can also visit my Facebook page, which is the official Fans of the Madonna Ghost, and see all the mysterious and ghostly things that I do on that website, mostly having to do with forensic science. Today's guest is Diane DiBlasi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And Diane is the author of Angel in My Lens. She is also an angel card reader, which she will talk about. She is a jewelry maker, and we will find out what motivated her to do that. She's an advanced Reiki instructor and an angel lover. Okay, so also I wanted you to know that you can visit Diane at Bayard Cutting Arboretum on August 23rd, where she is doing an event. It's a fundraiser for EAC, and she will be there doing her angel card reading. So what is an angel card reading?
Angel card reading, most people are familiar with the tarot cards. Mm-hmm. I myself I was kind of terrified of it when I was younger.
Well, once you see that picture of the Grim Reaper,
exactly.
That finishes you off, right?
Exactly.
I don't think I want anything to do with that.
They have angel cards, angel oracle cards, mm-hmm. where you have certain angels, there's messages in them. They're like the tarot cards, and you spread them out. Well, first off, before any reading, there's always a prayer. You would say a prayer calling certain angels and good spirits for the good of the person that you're reading for. Mm-hmm. And they give a question, and you spread them out. You get a message, you would get a number in your head. It would be 3 decks, 2 decks, 3 cards. And if it says 3 cards and 3 decks, you would have 3 different decks. One could be angel and saints and angels. The other one could be Archangel Michael cards, and the other one could be Queen of Mary cards.
So you start with a series of decks.
There's different decks, and
How
all
many?
different ones. Oh gosh,
lots of.
I have about 20.
Okay.
Yes,
but
I
you
have
only
about 20.
use certain ones.
Whatever I'm guided to do.
Okay.
And I would put out choose 3 decks, whatever I'm guided to, and choose 3 cards. The first card would be the immediate past. The middle card is always the present, and then the third card is always the immediate future. And of course, each card after that is a different time frame. It could be 2 to 3 weeks later, 2 to 3 months later, and so on and so on. I mean, it can go on, but the messages are always there, and as long as you have good intentions, it's always going to give you the truth.
Okay. Now, in tarot cards, each card, now there's only one tarot deck, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And each card represents a specific entity, so to speak.
Right.
And then the person who's reading the cards, because I've never had this done, that's why I'm asking you all these questions. The person who's reading the cards gets kind of like almost a message. Yeah, connecting the person to the particular
the person, and then the card itself, because sometimes you can look at one particular card for 2 different clients at 2 different times, and you'll get different messages, because it's not only the written message that may be on the card and the guided message that you may be receiving, but it's also the image on the card, what you're pulling up from the card itself. What you're seeing, what's drawn to you to tell your client about what you're seeing.
So in other words,
as part of the message.
When you start, you shuffle the deck?
Yeah, you would have the client shuffle the deck.
Shuffle the deck, and they put it down.
Because they're putting their energy in there, and
And then what tells you how many cards to take from each deck?
Myself, the angels tell me.
Okay.
So I get a number in my head. Like someone tells you, pick a number from 2 to 4, 2 to 10. A number pops in your head. That's exactly.
Some sort of inspiration.
Right, exactly.
Is causing you to have that number. And so then, so say it says to take 2 cards. You take 2 cards off. And then you look at those cards and you get a message.
You put them out. You spread them out.
Does each card has a written message on it?
Some decks do, some decks don't.
And then you have your own
And each
inspiration.
person can buy them themselves. Anybody can buy them in the stores. And there's a little booklet there and it has more in-depth messages in the booklet of what it, kind of like generalizing, but yet whatever would resonate with you, that's the message for you.
So the difference really would be that there are some people like yourself who you are able to read and get inspiration when you do this process.
And it's funny because when I do a reading for someone, I'll look at the cards, I look at the whole spread, and I'm looking, because I know what their question is already, and I'm looking and says, huh? You want me to tell them this? And I'm like, okay. And then I concentrate, and then I always write everything down. And I type it up, and I pass it on. And all the time, oh my goodness, I can't believe you said this or that. And, and it's good that you have the immediate pass because it kind of validates what they already know is going on in their lives or what has happened. So it's kind of good, and then you go on to the future. And
so that's, in a way, it's how shall I say it? It's like a spiritual guidance.
Oh, it is most definite, yeah.
No,
I like working with the angels, and I make jewelry.
Yes, what inspired the jewelry making? I know there's a story behind that.
Well, my oldest daughter passed in 2009. It'll be 5 years in October. And with that, I never even wanted a part of a medium. I was afraid of them. But Kiana used to go to a medium. 6 weeks after she passed, I wanted to go to that same medium. I wanted to reach out.
So you wanted to make contact.
Oh, yes.
Weren't willing to
Any
let go.
which way. I didn't care. I wasn't afraid then. So, and I went. And with that, and reading the grief books and led me to spiritual books, led me to Reiki and the crystals. And then I just started wrapping them. I heard about wire wrapping. I looked it up online, and I just started doing it. But I always meditate before I create, and I call them creative spirits. Because when I don't call them in, it doesn't come out very nice.
Well, they are beautiful.
Thank you.
So tell me about your book.
My book. It's very interesting. I'm going to start from the beginning. I knew I always wanted to write a book, and I thought it would be a children's book because I love children. And, this is from when I was very, very young. I always knew I wanted to write a book. Well, last year in April, I'm out in Gurney's selling my jewelry, and I'm also a nature photographer, and I'm selling my pictures. They're all matted on, on the table. And a woman comes around, and she's looking at the matted photos, and she says to me, "Your photos are beautiful." I said, "Thank you very much. I like sharing God's beauty." And and then she tells me, "I have a message for you." I says, "Okay." She says, "May I give it to you?" "Absolutely." She says, "I'm getting a message that you have to make a book. You have to do a book with your photos." I said, "Oh, okay." So I didn't think to do that. I never thought, because I've been taking photos seriously since 2008, before my daughter passed. And I never thought about doing a book with it. I just love sharing them. And I said, okay. And she says, the ones with the orbs also. Now, I only had traditional nature pictures down. Always kept my spiritual photos that I have taken in my pocketbook. I said, well, it's funny you said that. And I showed her what I had. And she says, yeah, these have to go in the book also. It's going to touch many hearts, your book. I said, okay, thank you. Went on with the day, completely forgot about that message. In May, April, May, in May, Phoenix, my friend Phoenix has people on her show. She has a medium on, and I hardly ever call in. And I happened to call in that morning, and they gave my name. "I have a message for you." I said, okay. they're saying, get that book started. Whoa, okay. So, and I proceeded to tell them what happened the previous month, 2 messages. I started it. What happens when we start projects? Put them to the wayside.
Yeah, we get stuck.
Yeah, we put them to the wayside, or we get stuck on them. And I put it to the wayside, and I'm in this one of my stores that had my jewelry, and I meet a lot of spiritual people, and a woman walks up to me. I have a message for you. I didn't even know her. I said, okay. She says, they're saying get the book done. I said, oh, okay. So, and with that, I did not stop until it was done.
Now, what do you mean by spiritual photographs?
One of the photos in there, I should have brought my frame. One of the photos in there is, you turned right to it.
I'm going to hold it here and then maybe
Yeah, this particular photo, I was coming back from east from taking sunrise pictures, and I saw a whole bunch of blue jays all over the ground. I love blue jays since I'm a child. And I wanted to get pictures of them, so I pulled over, and they flew away, of course. So, and I said, I'll wait. And so they come back, and I focus on one. He's up in the tree, and I get pictures. If they're all in sequence. They're all in sequence, and 2 of them, he's looking to his left. He's looking down at me. Then he looks to his left again. This is the 3rd picture, and there is a rainbow spirit in the picture. Now, I did not see it in my viewfinder, but it was there when I took the picture. You can actually, it's transparent. You can see the bark through the spirit.
Yes.
And then the last one is also, he's looking directly at me again with the same spirit.
This is a beautiful one, too. Can I read this?
Yes.
Okay, it says, this is a picture of 3 roses, and in the center is obviously a light of some kind. Looks almost like a prism. So I'm just going to read it. It says, this picture was taken on October 12, 2009, the day after my youngest daughter's wedding. They are from the centerpieces on one of the tables. My father had passed away on October 11, 1968, and when my daughter got engaged and was deciding when her wedding would be, she asked me if Grandma would mind if she got married on this date. Well, I said, Mom, if you would be, I'm sorry. Well, I asked Mom if it would be fine if Megan got married on October 11th. Mom looked at me with a smile and said she would not mind it. It will make a good day for good memories. Megan went on with the plans for the wedding. Meanwhile, my oldest daughter, Kiana, lived in another state and was planning on coming to the wedding. Well, we know sometimes God has different plans than we do. Late night on the 2nd of October, my husband and I were getting ready for bed. We got a knock on the door and were very surprised when a police officer was standing on our front patio. My first thought was that something happened to my middle daughter, for she was out with some friends, and this was after all, a local police officer. Well, it turned out that he came to tell us that my oldest daughter, Kiana, had passed away earlier that day. We had buried Kiana on my youngest daughter's birthday, and 4 days later, she had her wedding. Before the wake, Megan did tell me that her and Dennis would postpone the wedding, and I told her, not at all. A wedding is a new beginning, and you should still go on with it. Kiana would want you to. So in 1 week's time, I buried my eldest and watched my youngest start a new chapter in life. They say that God does not give you more than you can handle. I know that I was not fully mentally present at the wedding, but I know for certain that my angel Kiana was there in spirit with us all. The next day, I was sitting at the dining room table, and the sun was shining through the window just at the right angle, and I took these 3 roses out of the centerpiece and laid them down on the table and snapped this picture. I love how the sunlight is shining down on them. Just as I am writing this, I realize that each one of these roses represents each one of my beautiful daughters and the love we have for each other. I am forever grateful that God had blessed me and trusted me to be their mother. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful, as are the photographs.
in each one of the photographs. I've always said that there's a story behind every photograph. And I had no idea how it was going to come out. And the words just came to me, and that is a story.
You want to tell it? You tell this one.
This one, I'm going to tell it instead of reading it. I'll hold it like this. I go away in October every year with my sisters. I have quite a few sisters. We go to Shenandoah National Park every year.
That's beautiful.
And it's beautiful there. We go up to this one mountain, Stony Man. It's the second highest peak in the park. Well, we go up there and we're taking photos, and it's on all rocky ledge that we're standing on. So once you come back off the ledge, and you're walking back down the mountain, you're on a trail in the forest, in the woods. And my sister notices this butterfly up in a tree. Butterflies don't usually mingle up in the trees. They usually are on bushes and flowers. At least you don't see them on the tree. So we're taking pictures. And then it leaves, and it starts going down the mountain. And we start moving, and it comes back. And it starts circling around our heads. Goes around one sister's head, almost lands, comes back, goes on the other sister's head. And instinctively, I just said, everyone, put your hands up. We were all in our 50s. And like little children, we're standing there like this. And with that, the butterfly came around, and he landed on my hand. And I started crying immediately, because we all know that we get signs from our loved ones when they pass. And when animals and insects, which would be a butterfly, do things out of the ordinary, which will just go out and land on someone's hand, it's not ordinary for them to do that, that their loved one's soul had entered that animal or insect temporarily just to say hello. And I was so blessed and happy.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. I have a butterfly story too, very similar. I like to walk at Jones Beach, and I was walking at the surf line, and there was a butterfly, very pretty butterfly, similar to that, on the sand at the surf line. And I knew that as the surf came in, the butterfly's wings would get wet, and that would be the end of him. So I stuck my finger underneath him. He climbed up on my finger.
How sweet.
And I continued to walk down the beach, and I'm looking at him, and at first I thought his underwings were wet because they had like a moire texture to them, and then I realized, no, that's just how they are. So I'm saying, okay, you're okay now. You can go now.
You stayed.
And he wouldn't. I mean, he's clutching on my finger, and so I said, I didn't want to pluck him off because you ruined their wings. So there was a butterfly bush. No, actually, I don't think it was a butterfly bush. It was some other kind of bush. But I walked up to one of the bathhouses, and there were some bushes there with flowers. So I tried to get him to get off onto one flower. He didn't like that one. And then went to the next bush, and finally I found something that he liked. But he stayed with me, must have been a half an hour.